Good afternoon, everyone. Did the little ice age starve the Mississippians? Flourishing society, and then they collectively collapsed at 1200 AD. Reconstruction of the hydrology, recovery, and then another collapse around 1450. This matches up exactly with the grand solar minimums over time. Anomalous warm spell over Greenland, ice bridge forming from Greenland to Iceland, massive winds across Slovenia. Hundreds of birds freeze and fall from the sky in Sweden in the winter. Arctic vortex going to push into Mexico again this week. Expect more snow north Mexico and Texas. And while you're watching the video, please remember to subscribe to Adapt 2030 and click that bell so you can get the latest updates. Came across this article in Futurity. Did the little ice age starve the Mississippians? Talking about new reports coming out when Native Americans flourished and then instantly vanished from the Midwest United States. They have two collective dates where they have measured pottery and apex of society and then collapse and then reemergence and then collapse again. The first bout of the population collectively expanding was era 1000 to 1200 AD. And then suddenly, an instant collapse in agriculture. Reconstruction of the mid-continental hydro-climate extremes during that time. But then from 1300 onward, these Mississippian villages started disappearing. And then when we take a look, what was happening around circa 1300, blue line and green line, wolf minimum. This also affected Europe greatly. Another report, mid-continental Native American population dynamics and late Holocene hydroclimate extremes with some graphics tagged in the article here. From 1350 to 1450, instant abandonment, and they measured this on how much agriculture was taking place, the actual corn production. And I'm going to bring you back. Notice that era 1000 to 1500. We'll bring it back here, 1000. Just cold after cold. Jin dynasty collapse in China. Song dynasty collapsed in China. Yuan dynasty collapsed. These were all during grand solar minimums. Pretty interesting correlation. We can expect this again. And with the hydroclimate reconstruction, you notice out west, dry, drought and fire. And we're experiencing drought and fire in California. And they say it's so anomalous and so unusual. Yet, here we go. Go back about 700 years or 800 years and see if there's a pattern. Anomalous warm spell, 50-degree plus above normal averages. This is the second time it's happened this season so far. This air is being drawn up from the deserts of Africa. And the circulation patterns in our jet streams have absolutely changed. This has nothing to do with CO2 and everything to do with our magnetosphere as we enter into the grand solar minimum. And then you can start to understand how our crops are going to be affected when we get this in the winter. Now what happens when we're going into late spring and Arctic plunges come down on our growing fields? Now, even though it was that warm above normal temperatures, this ice bridge is now forming between Greenland and Iceland. This comes off the Norwegian Meteorological Institute's website. I linked everything below in the description box so you can follow all these articles. This is my overlay of Shepard, Zarkov, Zarkova, and Popov's research. With the intensification of the grand solar minimum, I added the dots in there on how many times amplification. So as we enter into 2018 and 19, as we go out of the yellow into the green, look for a 4 times ramp up in what we're starting to see right now. This is the extremes I'm talking about. It's going to ramp up 4x from what it is now. Extreme wind events across Slovenia. Forests down like toothpicks. Ryan Maue showing us the weather model for next week. That tongue of Arctic cold dipping all the way down into Mexico. Look for more snow in Mexico, more snow in Texas. Here we go. Hundreds of birds fall from the sky and cover the road in Sweden. Unusual that they are even up there at the moment. They should be a little further south in their migratory patterns, yet how did they just freeze and fall from the sky? littering the road. It's almost as if they all hit a cold wall and just fell out of the sky. It's limited to this single area, so you wonder, how do these birds flying along in a flock suddenly smash into something in the sky? Are we talking a cold plasma event? And then suddenly there's drop in this regional area right here. Unusual to say the least. Anyway, I hope you're preparing for the grand solar minimum. We are definitely going to repeat it starting right now. Look for the amplifications. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video.